What's going on, guys? We are live. Hot topic with Copville. Let's go. We are live on Hot Topic. I have one of my favorite guests, the former Deputy Chief of Palm Bay Police Department, Lance Fisher, back again. What's going on, Lance?
No, Mike, thanks for having me back. I'm surprised you continue to reach out to me.
No, man, you were my OG first episode that broke the internet, and you're local to me, so you're close. We kind of share some of the same enemies, I guess, because I've been coming at your old agency there, and they're not excited about the videos I posted. And I think I sent you one of the screenshots. Somebody from Palm Bay obviously made a fake name and reached out with some love towards me and told me I was a piece of shit and I couldn't hack it at Indian River. And you know how it goes.
Yeah, they don't like criticism too well. Not at all.
No, and I can understand some of it, but let's just let's go to the tapes. Let's see what the
Today I'm going to introduce you to one of our officers in our bike
see what they're doing though.
So
get
he
me
is
fun
super excited. We got our new bikes for our folks here patrolling the city. So please welcome Officer Nick Dennis.
Hey everyone. So this is my
I'm gonna pause it right here. I thought this was I thought this was always a joke. Is this how this guy really is?
Yeah, there's a bigger story on him.
Okay, I know that.
Talk
about it. Okay, let's keep going.
I wasn't for sure what this video was all about either when I first saw it.
Okay, so let's keep going.
brand new police patrol bike. It's a Trek Marlin 7. It has a SRAM 1x12 drivetrain.
Are you as uncomfortable as me watching this?
I have police lights
Yes.
Okay.
and a siren.
I feel bad for him.
This thing has air suspension, and look at all my storage. I have a lock,
I can't believe this is real
lights,
fucking life.
med kit, everything I need to keep the streets safe.
So
Okay, so how would you like to defend your former agency with that one?
I don't. That's like I don't know, if you go to a special needs thing and you let the kids in your car. That's kind of what this reminds me of, right? I mean, seriously, you got the lights. Oh wow, it's so pretty.
Now Palm Bay's pretty fucking dangerous, man. Like there's some crime up there, and that's where I look at this and go, I've been to Lipscomb and University. I know what it's like down there. It ain't no joke, dude. There's some serious shit. So it's like, this is what we're doing. This is and if I see that, them gangster dudes down there in the hood, they watch this shit. They see these guys clowning around and they're like, these are the guys that are gonna be coming to get us. Like, weird, right?
It's super weird. And the fact we don't have like a downtown district is
you don't. There's nowhere to ride the fucking bike.
No.
Where would you ride? Where would you ride?
Go on.
Yeah, where would you ride that fucking bike? Like, you don't have a park area, like you said, no downtown, like small old. Like you got what's the main road? The big one that runs through the middle.
You got Malabar, you got Minton, you got Cockpit, and you have like 12, 13 guys working in 90 square miles, and now you're going to put 4 of them on bikes or whatever.
Like you said, unless you go into the hood, the only thing I can think of is down there off University, and that ain't a good place to be on a fucking bike.
No,
I wouldn't want to be there.
Most of those guys won't go up there anyway.
Yeah, love the show. For me, no, hey, appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. We have a lot of cops on the spectrum. Does he have Down syndrome? You know about him. I mean, is he playing that? I'm being serious now. I don't want anybody to get upset with me. Is he retarded?
He's not. So I don't know if this was and I like the guys that do the social media, right? I was in charge of that program for a little bit, but yeah, I would have probably avoided this one. Fortunately for them though, they don't allow comments on their social media, because I can only imagine how this one would have went.
My own agency doesn't either. Here's my friend Steve. I feel more safe around cartel members than anywhere in competition. Yeah, he hates cops. He hasn't used the magic word yet, which will be coming. Why do we have an overweight cop on a bike? And if anybody knows the area, like Lance said, there's nowhere to ride a bike. It's a big, squared off, massive city. There's really nowhere to ride it. Like, I can see Melbourne, because now they have downtown district. Melbourne would need a bike patrol area, but so maybe we're just picking on them. Maybe we're picking on. Let's try a different video from them. Let's see what we got here. Okay. What do you think? Well, what do you think about that one?
I just smashed my badge on the commercial break. Yeah, I don't really know there. That's the donut thing. I almost wanted like a wedding cake topper or something. I'm not really for sure what that was supposed to be about, but yeah.
I've done a lot of things, and I'm a pretty fucked up dude, but I don't think I'm gonna eat a donut out of another dude's hand. Like I made some pretty fucked up TikToks. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm always transparent. I did some dumb cringe stuff, but this is bad. These are ugly. And it's a, like, it's not a fucking, it's a pretty dangerous town. There's a lot of crime going on. There's a lot of things. You got, like you said, the interstates right there. You have the gangs down there in Melbourne, right on the border there. This is not the message I think an agency would send to, like, what are you trying to prove with that? Like,
yeah, and I don't think I'm gonna let somebody sit on a bar with their ass in my face. I mean, you know how it is to sit in a patrol car all day, right? I mean,
well, unless they're SWAT guys. I mean, we used to do that, but other than that, I mean,
yeah, I get that, but I don't think I'd record it for public viewing. So,
hey, Mr. Fisher, let out all those damn dirty secrets. They can't silence you here. The floor's yours, man. You can throw out anything you want.
All over the world, so you can follow me on almost any platform right now.
How do we follow you? For the people listening and watching, if they want to get in
local
touch
stuff, I've been doing Brevard News a lot.
Okay.
I've done some Palm Bay Live stuff. Obviously, you really broke it out for me. But I've done some local media for Fox News. I did if you followed the Titusville shooting. So it's been, I do about 3 or 4 probably events a week now. And in council, that's some of the best stuff I do.
You get 3 minutes there?
I got 3 minutes, and they took 12 last time to sit there and berate me and tell me how embarrassing I was. So that was a good one.
Pretty bad. Yo, what's up, y'all? What's up, donuts? Yeah, I'm sorry, Charlie. You got to see that. That's Palm Bay Police Department. Leave SWAT out of it. So, since we've talked, has anything drastically changed? I know you're dealing with some lawsuit stuff. Maybe they were coming after you for some things. Anything they shut? I know they changed. We talked last time. They changed the forum at the meetings to not allow you to present any items now. So what happens?
I have to present them 2 days in advance now, so that they get to plan their rebuttals to me, which is kind of cool.
Okay. So they make, there's no spontaneous. They can just omit it. Can they leave it out, or they have to show?
Oh, they don't video them anymore.
Okay.
So the public can't even see them. So we did a sneak attack. We brought Brevard News down and for and they did a video viewing of it. And I don't think council knew, because literally they berated me for 12 minutes. Okay. And we were able to put that out there, calling me evil, embarrassed I was ever the deputy chief. It was funny when you come out and you talk about misconduct and things like that. It's always like turning on your brothers, in blue, and it's not that at all. It's just trying to do the right thing.
Why don't he have a cameraman upload foot? Yeah, I agree. And I talked about this the other day. Like, we should go back. Like, what did everybody like? They like cops. We should be showing dudes. And I talked about this on my episode that came out this morning with Jesse Ryan, who was the camera guy for Keith Pearson and Not in St. Lucie and all that stuff. And I think that stuff's great. Some people don't like it. I like it. I think we should be highlighting criminals going to jail, and leave this stuff here to like Barney and the stuff that goes on the kids watch in the morning. So I don't know.
No, I agree. I mean, that's police work, right?
BJJ is awesome. Palm Bay sucks.
Thank you, Truth Seeker.
That's cheating. They can now. Yep, I know, it's ridiculous. They can basically shut it down if they don't like it in advance. They can do all that stuff. Get a go protest rate. Mayor's an embarrassment. I don't know anything about them, but you're right. If they can shut down what you're going to say ahead of time, you're kind of infringing on your free speech, because you're allowed to go there and say, I mean, within reason, but you can go out and, you say things, and they shouldn't have an opportunity to prepare or omit what you're going to say if they don't like it. I think that's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, they can't. They couldn't stop me. All I did was I just reiterated words that the chief said when he cursed out a Melbourne sergeant at one of our training programs over at FIT in Melbourne. He literally cursed him out. You remember who the F I am and all this stuff, but nobody cares. They cared that I said the words, but but they cared that I cursed in city council, but they don't care that their chief of police in a Palm Bay uniform curses out a Melbourne sergeant during an
I saw that. I saw that
brutal.
video. Yeah, I saw it.
Brutal.
When Lance brought out the cops wrongdoing on video, it doesn't matter what he was going through. I guess they kind of threw you under the bus. The real criminal is not being. So you said something interesting I want to go back to. when you're in that circle and you're the chief's buddy, you know, you just said that, like you are in it and they don't mess with you. You're the greatest guy on earth. The second you step outside of that zone and you start to call bullshit, that's when all of a sudden you're this evil human being that you never were before. And I experienced it as well.
Yeah.
I was in the circle. I was friends with all these guys. I was good. The second I stepped out of line and said, you know what, you guys are fucked up. Like, I'm done pretending that what you're doing is okay. And you immediately become the enemy. And
April 17th, 2024.
Yeah.
You're not right in the head. You can't do this job anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, but I'm not. And I told Chief Agello, I'm not going to walk away like everybody else. You're not going to treat me like that and think I'm just going to walk away, man. And I told him, I said, I know everything you've done, brother. So you better be careful. And not to be a jerk about it, but he did that to so many other people that simply walked away. And I told him, I'm not that guy. I am not that guy.
Yeah. And I'm not either. And I like,
sorry for your luck.
What they did to you is very similar. And I'm not going to go all into it, but what they did was essentially they thought they ruined you and were putting you in a position where you would just cower and die and go away. And they did the same thing to me. They attempted to absolutely ruin my life. And now me and you are sitting on the live internet streaming this, and they never saw that coming.
No, they've been crying. They're like, it's been 14 months. Well, who's counting? Because I'm not. I'm having a great time, man.
And because they want you to stop. They didn't stop. You know, when they went on the news and talked shit about me on the news, or when they, you know, when they tried to transfer me into jail, that wasn't enough. It wasn't time to tap out then. It was time to tap out. And now it's time. It's like, what is he doing? It's been over a year. Like, when's he going to let it go? Like, I was always cool with this guy. No, you weren't cool with me. You tolerated me. You talked about me behind my back. And now that I got a voice, now it's, oh man, you know, oh God, don't say that. Like, oh, we got to calm down. No, it was good for all you guys. When you guys are in charge of everybody and you control everybody's lives, their overtime, their assignments, it's all cool. But when it's time to be held accountable, like you and I can do now, it ain't cool anymore. Now they want us to shut up and go away.
It's not going to happen.
Good.
I got too much time on my hands now.
Yeah, and that's how I feel. And it's like I said, they thought I was going to die. They thought I was going away. What's the reasons for some departments liking to force sheep? Yeah, I mean, the administration is pretty rough. There's a question that goes up there. You know it as well as I do. And I'm sure I've heard you say you didn't do some good things as deputy chief. You admit that you made some critical mistakes and you wish you would go back and do it again. But when you're in that position, there is a sheep mentality, and whatever that top guy says and it goes down, it's an ugly situation for a sergeant or a senior cop or a lieutenant to go, how am I going to buck this? Even if I don't agree with it, you're kind of forced to go with it because it's your life.
Absolutely. Especially after you just threw the deputy chief out of the building. I mean, you don't think there's you just made a whole bunch more sheep? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely did.
Yep. And that's what has. So when you see a sheep mentality, cops, you know, back in, 20, 25, 30 years ago, they just got fired. If you went against the system, you were fired. You were gone. You're out of there. There's nothing you could do. There was no repercussion or anything. And as time has gone on, career service bills have come around and things have changed. There's a little bit more leeway but I'm a prime example. You cannot go on Facebook and talk out about the agency. You cannot publicly talk out about the agency. You cannot say certain things or they will bury you in a broom closet or whatever little cliche joke is. They're going to make your life miserable because they essentially can do whatever they want to do within reason as far as needs of the agency. So they can ruin your life and there's really no recourse for it. And it's unfortunate that, it happens. Give me like you're done now. Give me one, be transparent like I am. What are some of the things you would change about Lance Fisher if you could go back now in that building and be a different deputy chief?
Well, and I told you towards the end when I was suffering from my mental wellness stuff, I wasn't treating some officers right. I was sitting behind closed doors a lot. Not an excuse, right? There's no excuse for that because I've been in leadership since 1994, so there's no excuse for that. What I would do differently is I would have been more vocal about things that I knew were wrong. Now it may have cost me my job in my house a lot quicker because people are like, well, when you were there, you could have made a change. Yeah, I did. When we tased a gentleman off of a motorcycle driving down the road, out of the window of a patrol car, tased him off a motorcycle. I said to Chief, we got to terminate this guy. This is this is an excessive force that we can't overlook. And he didn't terminate him, right? But I said my piece, but I wasn't, I didn't harp on it. But then 6 months later, he tases a guy off of a fence, and now that gentleman is now paralyzed from the neck down. And on body camera, the sergeant says, I don't have any charges on this guy. And they don't. They dropped them all. But yet we have a citizen that's paralyzed now because we didn't take the appropriate actions and terminate an officer. And I have nothing against the officer. I'm against what he did. But I wasn't vocal enough, right? But then again, it's like you said, when you do become vocal, you're vulnerable.
Very.
And even as a deputy chief, I was still vulnerable.
Yeah, and people don't realize that. People don't realize, oh, you're the deputy chief, you can do whatever. Well, obviously not, because you started to speak up, and you're sitting here with me.
And I was never in that. And some of your viewers are going to hate this, but Palm Bay is ran by SWAT members. 4 of the 5 commanders at Palm Bay are SWAT. SWAT commanders. That's how they got promoted through the ranks. They took care of each other, and I'm okay with that. I was never SWAT. So I was never a true insider. I just wasn't. Now, I came up through the ranks. I was blessed. I was promoted, through the ranks. But truly, I was never an insider. And so it was so easy for them all to turn on me in 1 second.
Yeah. Is there body cam footage of that incident?
Yeah.
There is?
They turned on just as he's laying on the ground. The 2.5 minutes that we chased him, absolutely not. For a red light violation, absolutely not.
Okay.
The first thing you'll see is him laying on the ground.
Remember, he can tell you from the inside, Palm Bay Police Department has done shady, inappropriate things to law-abiding citizens, trying to ruin them for speaking out. Sounds about like everywhere else. We shared one of the entire episodes with Chief Fisher. Someone critical asked why he didn't speak out sooner. It's nice hearing you say you'd handle things differently. Definitely respect that.
Well, I do appreciate that. But remember, when I spoke out, they immediately turned off my cell phones, my work cell phones, my computer, access to the building, took my car, and shortly thereafter, I knew what was happening. I had to sell my house because I knew that I wasn't going to have an income. I still don't have an income other than benefits I got from the military. And so and I say I wish I would have spoke out sooner, but I would have been on the street sooner, quite frankly. And I have a family as well.
Yep. We got another comment here. If you end up on Copville's pod or live, you're doing something right. Keep on keeping on. We appreciate it. I got one more Palm Bay video. I forgot.
Falls, they awaken. If danger strikes, they strike back. Awaiting the menace, they stand ready. All may seem lost, but they bring a new hope.
They drug the firemen into it. God damn it.
In the sheriff's department.
Dark forces
And
can flee,
FHP.
but they'll follow, relentless in pursuit, unshaken in purpose.
Fucking oldest dude at FHP they brought in.
Together, we resist the chaos, a unified front with a common purpose: to protect, to serve, to drive the darkness back into the shadows.
All right, I can't take any more. That's the one everybody got the most upset about when I posted that one, and I got the hate mail.
What's crazy about that one?
What the fuck is that?
We have a guy that actually tries to turn. He tries to use the force, and I'm not a Star Wars guy, but he tries to use the force to change street lights and close his trunk of his patrol car. But he didn't make the video, so that's a little bit discouraging.
So, what would you think if you still worked there and you saw that?
Again, I would have. I don't know. I'd have probably have went over to Melbourne, and started doing work.
Would you go out there with your lightsaber and start swinging it?
No.
I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm not a Star Wars fan either.
Me neither. And that's probably why he took so much heat.
Yeah, they didn't like that one. Please explain this force guy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on that one. All right, let me see. I got it. So I got some other agencies here. As a deputy chief, I would like to show you. We'll go with let's see. Where's my friend at? She's not happy with me. But this one. Yeah, let's go with this.
Know when share is ready. Even if it's a screenshot on your phone, have it ready. Have it in your papers. That selfie.
Look how fast she's going. Look how fast she's going. Look what she's doing.
Insurance right next to it. It's not that different. It's really not. Have all your kids.
I can't take much more of that. So that is Deputy White from Bradford County Sheriff's Office. No, hold on. I cannot translate what she's saying either. So
I was trying to follow the beat a little bit. But.
Very short time on the job. I was contacted by a lot of people that work there that have said they've had problems, shouldn't have made FTO, other issues. And that is what she's doing on duty. Now look at this one. This next one this is the same female. This one's disturbing because this appears to be a call for service where she is interacting with a civilian. Doesn't appear body cam would be on if she's videoing from her phone. And she's actually recording the civilian on her cell phone.
Hey, were you out here the other night?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Okay. You got your ID?
I do it. Hold on.
Or you can okay.
And we got the face and the making fun of the lady and whatever else is going on. It actually goes out on that one and it's silence from that point forward because her phone stops working. But this is my problem with TikTok, law enforcement, and overall what is going on, because that officer's safety, first of all, the driving one is completely unsafe. She's watching the phone driving, and that looked like she was going a pretty good speed. She was driving pretty fast.
That's crazy.
Now you got that. Okay. No, we do a lot of shit. I'm texting and driving. I'm not perfect. We got the computer, laptop. But you know what? If you crash looking at your laptop going to a burglary because you want to look at the map, Mike Dilks is going to give you that one. Like, bro, get to the fucking call. Get there right. You're watching the map. You're doing something productive for law enforcement. If you crash looking at your cell phone, giving some whatever language that was, update on something, I think her message was about having your insurance card ready on the phone. Any real cop, I didn't give a shit about insurance. I wanted to see your ID, wanted to see if you had a warrant, and that's really all I cared about with anything in the car as far as paperwork. But then you got the interaction with the citizen. Now, you can get shot in your car. There's a billion things that can go wrong. And you're sitting in your car handling a call for service. And then what my argument is other young cops are watching these videos and they're going, that seems pretty easy. I can do that. I'll just go do what she does. I'll drive around and do that. And you're the deputy chief. I send you those two videos as a concerned citizen. What is your thoughts?
Well, I'm just wondering if she's still employed. One,
she is. You're
sitting in your coffin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we call the patrol vehicle your coffin. Get out of that thing as fast as you can, right? And if you're sitting there talking to a citizen and you're recording that, well, that's a good way to get your phone subject to public records requests. I keep doing it to command staff because they use their personal phones for public records requests. So I keep doing public records requests on their personal phones. Until you stop doing it, I'll keep doing it.
That phone 1000% is a public record right now.
Absolutely.
That interaction with a civilian in a police capacity was recorded on video, and it's absolutely public record. That phone, that conversation, that incident, and if it's deleted, then she deleted public record. Furthermore, I also stand on, if that's not an official cell phone for work to record on, that conversation is now privileged because it is a private conversation away from the public, not accessible to everyone else to hear. So now you have recorded that person illegally if it's not an official police call and you're using your personal phone, and then you're replaying it for everybody to hear. So that falls into that. We had a guy in town that did that on a incident where he recorded him and his neighbor arguing about a crash, and even though he needed it to try to prove the crash wasn't his fault, the conversation took place in a private place away from everybody, and they deemed that recording was illegal because he didn't tell me he was recording. So to me, that's right up the same alley.
Absolutely.
But what are you doing? Like, what is the point of that at all? It's a mental illness that has been continued now from this last couple generations of people that have gone through law enforcement, where it's not about being a cop anymore. It's not about bad guys. It's not about chasing after people. It's about how can I fulfill my mental illness to get clout and get likes and get people to interact with me through the most dangerous job in the United States of America, which is mind-blowing to me that you're spending that much time doing that.
Yeah, while trampling on the citizens that you're serving, right? I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, imagine court footage. Imagine that. Like, take that to court and show. That's just ridiculous. Like the New Mexico trooper who was shot in the car. Well, yeah. I mean, how many that's the other. How many videos a week do we see of somebody getting shot? Cops getting shot, and that's what Copville is. And people say, "What is Copville?" It's memes. It's funny, right? But what it also is There are really good cops out there in dangerous cities doing a really shitty job. And you know what they don't ask for? They don't ask for clout. They don't ask for recognition. They do their job. I try to make sure they get that. They send me a picture of a dope arrest. They're not going to send that to anybody else. Their agency's not going to put it on the press, but I'm impressed by it. I like the fact that there's still guys out doing that. They're doing the nitty gritty work that nobody wants to do. And then they're getting in trouble for chasing a car. They're getting in trouble for doing something, pushing the envelope of the policy. When you got a girl like her who is going to drive around like that for 20 years, never fucking do anything important, never get in a critical incident, make the same money, but didn't do anything to help the community besides that. And it's unfortunate. And I'm telling you, I've had 3 or 4 guys reach out from that agency saying, thank you for bringing this out because nobody else will do anything about it. And it's a huge problem. We've said something. She plays the cards and she gets away with it. And she actually messaged me when I was going to be, I responded nicely. And I said, hey, what you're doing is wrong. Well, let me start it out. Started out with, I'm a big girl and I'm not going to block you because I said that you're probably going to block me.
That would have hurt you bad. Your feelings.
She blocked me. She blocked me immediately. But she started out with, she's a big girl. She's tough. Why don't I reach out with some advice? So my next paragraph was a long one about advice. Go to the range, train BJJ, study case law, and study the policy because you're obviously not up to your agency's policy because violating state statute, like driving and recording citizens illegally, is surely a violation of your agency policy. By the time she got to the second paragraph where I brought up the fact that her conversation was probably illegal under Florida statute because she recorded that lady, blocked seconds later, gone, didn't want anything to do with that.
And you know what's bad is, so when you have cops doing stupid, idiotic stuff, they make the good cops look bad. And you know, and you and I both know 90+% of the cops are good.
Yes.
But when an idiot in any other state does something stupid, it makes all cops look bad, right?
Correct.
That's just the fact of the nature of the beast for law enforcement. Is one cop anywhere in the country does something stupid, all cops did something stupid. And it's unfortunate that agencies will allow stuff like that.
We can do look at like Breonna Taylor and all those other hands up, don't shoot. You can actually do the right thing and we all suffer. Mm-hmm. But then you can go do it's insane. Mr. Fisher, are you going to keep your certs or do you feel like they have blacklisted you for speaking out?
I still have my certs, but you know, I'm done with law enforcement. This was my last career. I did Marine Corps, law enforcement, 2 agencies, North Carolina and Florida. So this was it for me. But now I'm gonna take the other side. I'm gonna try to make law enforcement better by critiquing law enforcement. And I think you can say I turned against my brothers and sisters in blue, but that's not accurate. I'm trying to make them better.
Nope, that's not accurate because we have a budget issue going on here in the county, and I'm pretty outspoken about our administration and the way it's handling it. And then people want to say I'm against it. I think cops should make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. The ones that actually do the job, there's no dollar amount to a young man or woman who goes and signs up for this job and says, I'm willing to die for people, just like the military. I'm willing to die for people, a lot of people that hate me. I'm willing to die for them. I'm willing to take a bullet. I'm willing to go arrest a dopehead at 3 a.m. and hope he doesn't have a knife in his pocket or a gun. I am all for it. But when you do it the wrong way and you abuse your power, and you don't hold yourself to the same level of accountability you hold your people to, that's where the problem is. And for years and years and years, you weren't allowed to say anything, or there wasn't these little devices here to get out and say it. You were just fired, blacklisted, they made up some shit about you and they sent you on your way. Now there's a place. So I am 1000% in support of law enforcement, good cops. I am against, as much as Steve talks shit, I am just as equally against bullies and people who abuse their position in law enforcement to get ahead for themselves or protect their little circle of people.
Yeah, and so just so that everybody knows, for 6 months while I was employed, I did this behind the scenes. I wasn't public about it, and I actually just said, "Hey, take care of this. Do an investigation. Look at the misconduct that the allegations I make. Prove I'm lying." And that's it. But they didn't. They refused to do that. And 14 months later, here I stand. Here I stand. And
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same for me. I'm a piece of shit, but nobody can say why.
Right. Exactly. Because I'm outspoken about criminal misconduct in law enforcement. I'm sorry about your luck. Yeah. I didn't go through 20 years of law enforcement just to watch it get deteriorated because of chiefs with egos, deputy chiefs with egos, and command staff with egos.
We have a pretty bad area for this, man. It's a bad, like Vero Beach Police Department is going through the same thing. Their vote of no confidence against their administration was overwhelming against their agency. I haven't even done the episode yet. I did the episode where they fired the guy for no reason. Jerry Worms is my guest on that one, where they fired the kid for throwing weed into a dumpster.
Yep.
But they have that whole thing came out. You're being sued by lieutenant, they're being sued by one of their own for a whistleblower. They have repeatedly just been blasted in surveys by their own officers and former employees for being the worst of the worst. And they don't do anything to fix it. And the council does nothing to change it.
No, it's brutal.
And it's just, what does it take? Like, why is this job like, and that's where the civilian world is so much different, I think, is if a civilian company was broken that bad, it would be bankrupt, or they would just they would be done. They dissolve, like, we dissolve the company, we can't function. But in law enforcement, we just continue to fake it with terrible leaders and just get by, because that's my argument about the budget. The budget is always coming. It may go down, it may not go up as much as they want, but guess what? Uncle Sam is handing that sheriff a check, and or the counties or the city's handing that chief a check every year, regardless of his performance. The agency's funded. If a company was running bad, they wouldn't get the money. So that's my problem with government is there's no performance level. It's either it sucks and you deal with it, or it's good and you deal with it. And you just, by luck, you either live in a place where it sucks or a place where it's good. And there's no standard or rhyme or reason to it. Let's see. You got Palm has cops reach out to us, but they're afraid to go. Of course they are. Of course they are. I don't want. Do you think cops should be paid more for doing things like extra training? Yes. I think cops should be paid more if they perform and they're physically fit.
No, I agree.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, we know, and you talked about just the physical dangers, but the mental dangers are, and I've said it before, meat grinder in, or you go a steak in, meat grinded out, right? You just come out a piece of just like hamburger, and and that's the other part is, they definitely have to be paid, right? But again, it's hard when you're an agency that is doing the wrong things for your citizens to want to pay your law enforcement. It's just difficult, because normally what usually tears up a police department is an incident that goes bad in your, look at Titusville Police Department. They've had a couple of officer involved shootings. They hired an officer that was at a different agency, fired through his window on a citizen that called in that was waving him down with a cell phone. That officer fires through his window of a police car, striking the citizen in the arm. Well, he was just recently involved in February in another officer involved shooting. So there's a public outcry for this. And that's what usually it takes. It takes the backs of our citizens that we're here to protect for something like that to happen. Unfortunately, in Palm Bay, we just haven't had it yet, but it's going to happen, and it'll happen in Vero Beach. It's just a matter of time that somebody, it's just going to be unfortunate. Somebody's going to have to get hurt because of it.
Yeah. Do you know somebody's asking, do you know the number of lawsuits filed against Palm Bay PD? Like roughly, are you aware of any of that?
The last I counted, I had like 7. The big one is the one I talked to you about, Thomas Farley, that we paralyzed. Ben Crump took that one on. So we may not have Palm Bay. Once he's done, there may not be Palm Bay.
Yeah. No one will give an actual number based on ones. Yeah, they won't tell you what they're going through. Yeah. Well, and that's what we're here for. And like I said, they can call us disgruntled. We got some heat on that first episode. People come out of the woodworks. You actually got more heat than I got, which is rare. But
nothing like last Thursday, brother.
Was it bad?
I got hammered by our city council.
What did they say? I mean, what was their angle?
Well, I played a video of my chief berating Melbourne officers on a crime scene.
Oh yeah.
I got caught on video.
Okay.
The only time he's ever been caught on video doing what he does to everybody else. And then I talked about a second incident where he found that same sergeant at a leadership training conference and went off on him again in an elevator while he was in uniform.
Oh yeah.
And man, they just tore me up. Like I turned on the Brothers in Blue, they said, and I'm like, this isn't my video. I didn't put this out there.
Listen.
I didn't do
talk
this.
about turning on the Brothers of Blue. The turning comes from the top, because at the bottom you can't do anything. You do what you're told, and there's the turning comes from that top. And when you become not one of the boys, or you do something, you could do something as simple as stop somebody's like third cousin. You have no idea who it is, and they go tell your lieutenant or captain like, oh, Officer Dilks was mean to me, and next thing you know, you're like fucked. And that's the part that nobody realizes, how bad the interagency politics are at a police department or sheriff's office. You are done. And when you're done, there's like no, you know it. There's no coming back from done.
No.
When you piss off that right person, there's no like second chances. There's no, you're walking on that wire, and the second you slip, you're done. You're expendable. You're not getting moved. You're not getting promoted. You know, they'll put you in the worst car in the fleet. There's so much shit they can do to you, and you have nothing. As a new young cop, there is nothing you can do. And you got a wife at home, you got kids at home, you got bills, and it's like, it's one of the worst cult behavior situations I've ever been involved in my entire life.
No, we had an officer that was on the promotion list, I think 12 years in a row. And I think the chief 2 years ago told him, I will never promote you.
Yeah.
He was a corporal for years, and he said, I will never promote you.
Yeah. Do you have a YouTube channel, your own?
No, I would like to get one.
It's probably time. But I can help you out. You probably should start. You probably should start getting on there. Palm Bay City Council is a joke, known by FDLE and the FBI as dirty. Yep, we know about that story. Yusuf's talked about that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Does Lance have a channel? No, not yet. We're going to work on getting Lance. Lance can do his own Palm Bay. He'd be busy just with Palm Bay.
People keep asking me, but man, I don't know, Mike. I don't know.
I mean, well, let me warn you first. It's a pain in the ass, but you know, I'm on 3 or 4 nights a week now, live and then a recorded show. It's not difficult. It is difficult, but it's important. And the more people we get going in this direction that you and I have gone, the better. Because it's you know, when you you know, it is when you're by yourself and you're saying this is all messed up, they'll call you a lunatic. You're nuts. You're this. You're that. But when you start to get a group of guys together, and it's like, all right, we've heard this from 4 guys now, 6 guys now, 10 guys now. Now I have a whole channel of 50-some thousand followers, and we have Counterculture with 7,000-8,000 subscribers. Now it picks up steam, and that's the same thing for you. Is like you're right. You have it, you know it, and you have all the answers. It's just you got to get that out, and I think it's important for you to. I think you should. I really do.
I'll probably go that way. I mean, I'm doing like 3 a week right now. Anyway, I have to drive.
I pulled over with my Jerry Worms rookie card on my back window, and this old cop let me go because of it. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry with the verbal warning.
Look at that, man.
Look at that. That's good. That's good police work. He just records with. He's been. This is our 4th or 5th time together, right? 4th.
Yeah, I think 4.
Yeah, you did the episode. You did the update breakdown. We did another one, and this is our 4th. Yeah, so. And you're always welcome. Like I said, I always enjoy your insight. You're very knowledgeable, and you were like, you didn't talk about it, but you were a real cop. You did the street stuff. You did street crimes. So it's not like you're just some guy that made deputy chief. You worked your way through the ranks, and that comes with people not liking you because, like, some of the people, this guy, that guy. But if they had anything concrete, it'd already be out. Like, they can trash you all they want, but here we are. We're sitting on the internet. We're here every week. We're available. I've invited all these people that talk shit about me on. I'm like, you see, I'm very calm. Actually, Tyler makes fun of me for being so calm. He's like, why are you so calm? I'm not crazy. They all think I'm some wild steroid addict, crazy freak, but I'm very calm. And I would love to have debates with people who would, let's have an educated conversation about all these things you have to say, because I know in my heart that I did everything I was supposed to do. And I helped a lot of people, and that's what I'm doing now. So I wear it on the sleeve, man. Let's do it. I don't argue in the inbox anymore. I go, I'll be on at 7:00. You can hit the button. We can go live and let's talk about it.
But they won't take you up on it, will they?
No, nobody has yet.
Big accounts.
No, nobody has yet. Lance should definitely consider creating a channel. I agree. Mr. Fisher, what is the most eye-opening moment for you as deputy chief? What stands out? When was your big moment?
For me, it was when, I had a chief of police that he preached mental wellness. And when I sat down with him in his office on April 15th, and I told him that I've been struggling, and I said, hey, I don't think I'm going to make the 5 years that you're looking to stay and still be the deputy chief here. I'm probably at best looking at 3. And when he turned to me and said, then I don't need you as a deputy chief, I knew right then everything that I'd worked for and everything that he and I stood for together to do mental wellness for our agency was a complete farce. And then when he hired his personal therapist through the counseling program that we contracted with, the same counselor he sent me to, when he hired her to be his wellness coordinator, and he brought her into the agency with all her secrets, mine, his, and all the other officers' secrets. I knew then, man. I was like, this program is in jeopardy. Confidentiality, the safe zones that these people had speaking one-on-one with this person. I was like, wow. So for me, that was the biggest eye-opening, that everything that I'd stood for in the last 2 years was a farce. And everything that Chief Agela stood for was a farce as well. Completely fake.
Yeah. I kind of went through the same thing. And it, like, when I got into the IA, I got in, and I'll stand to the day I die. I talked about it with IA guy last week. Could I have done things better? Absolutely. We could wake up better. We could go to the gym better. We could drive our car better every day. There's things about that call that I would always change. But when it wasn't what they made it out to be. And when I saw that collective group of people get together and take 6 months to demote somebody without ever being on admin leave or being relieved of duty of a SWAT team, street crimes unit, U.S. Marshals Task Force unit, going to schools. I was in rappel school when I found out, rappel master school at SWAT in Orange County when I found out I was sustained on everything. When you can tell somebody that they did something so bad that they need to be demoted, but you never remove them from anything they're doing, I was like, holy shit. This is the moment I never imagined would happen to me, because I have done so much for this place. I've worked so hard to get where I finally got promoted. I've kept the sheriff out of jail. I've kept people I've kept secrets. I've kept all this stuff, and there's no way this is going to happen to me. And when it did, it was like, that was it. It was like, I knew my career was over then. Like, the job had been, it's like, somebody else I know says it. It's like the Wizard of Oz, man. You look behind the curtain and you go, this is not what I thought it was.
Not at all.
That moment you go, I can't believe I got fooled, because you feel like an intelligent person as a cop, and you feel like you know everything because you've been trained, and you go out and handle all these calls, and you kind of ignore all that stuff. But when that curtain flips back and there's a dude back there just pulling strings, and it's not everything you thought it was, and everybody turns on you, bro, and you know it, and I know you know it. It is. And they preach mental health. If you want to preach mental health, do not do that to people, because that's why they kill themselves. They don't kill themselves from the baby calls. They don't kill themselves from the car crashes. They kill themselves because the people they thought were blood brothers and with them, ride or die, turn on them and make them out to be pieces of shit when they're not. That's why cops kill themselves. And I will stand on that to the day I die.
I agree. Because that's all we preach, right? Family, thin blue line, brotherhood, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? It don't mean anything.
Nope.
And when you figure that out, it's way too late.
That is a tough
beat
pill
up
to swallow. That is the toughest. You don't have the capacity or civil conversation. He's talking about Steve. You're going to do a full breakdown of your career. Which one of us? The thin blue line. Yep. The thin blue line is absolute bullshit. And I hate saying it. It's in the context that we just said, because there should be a brotherhood. We should protect each other. We should care about each other. We shouldn't be pieces of shit.
The right way. Correct.
Yes, but it's not. It's not. Unfortunately, you're expendable, and you can be a Lance Fisher any day as the deputy chief. Like, nobody thinks it could happen to a deputy chief, but there you are.
No, it was the biggest move he made, because he told the other 199 officers, you better stay in line, because I got rid of my number 2.
Yeah, and I was a dude's best man at his wedding. So when he shit on me and tried to do everything to me, it was like, if I do it to him, surely I'll do it to some dude who I have no idea who he even is walking around the building. We literally took a peer support call earlier today for the exact reason you're talking about. Their agency leadership preaches mental health, but they are targeting this person. Way too common. There it is.
It's insane.
That's all the way down in South Florida. Copville and Fisher. I'll break down my career. I don't mind. Rules for thee, not for me.
Right?
What's that?
I think I broke it down pretty good.
Yeah, you did it well. If you go back and I think your episode,
I don't know. It was early on. Still don't have a T-shirt. But it was early on.
You were my last in studio. No, you're one of the only in studio. It was like 4 or 5. It was up there in the beginning. If you go back on my YouTube channel, the very beginning, they're all labeled. Lance talks about his whole career and how he ended up where he is. What is safe? It's not what they do to people like the two of you. It's the collateral damage that they do to the families. Yeah. Think about that when you come home and tell, like, imagine if I was, that's a great point. Hold on. I'm having a great time doing the podcast with Counterquote. Imagine, this is a good one right here. It's not what they do to people like the two of you. It's the collateral damage to your family. Imagine, if I'm not well off or I'm you dealt with the financial strain. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You're right here in front of me. They ruined your life. Like, you had to struggle with your house and all that stuff. They don't fucking care, dude. They didn't care. They don't care what your wife's going to go through. Yeah.
They've attacked me on social media, my wife on social media. They followed my, last month, an officer followed my wife and my daughter because they drove my truck for the first time and to go pick up some furniture. And my daughter calls me up screaming on the phone because the officer's headlight to tail light. And I said, just stay on the phone. If they pull you over, just hit the record button and let me know where you're at. But, and that's those intimidation factors. They screenshot my social media post. They come on that Shane Mertens, that piece of shit, comes on my, I did a post for my wife. He's the one that told me, fuck you when I was at the podium the first time I spoke. He's the one of them that came to my house to return my property. And, he does a laughing emoji on my social media where I tell my wife, thank you for another year because we did a vow renewal. He's not my friend. Why are you on my social media, dude? Are you that much of a piece of shit that you just can't? Are you that?
No, you know when it'll stop? When you get your own channel.
No, when I keep doing their public records requests.
When you get your own channel and you start doing the public records requests and you start putting their shit on the internet.
Yep.
I bet he stops because
100%.
nobody fucks. Well, they won't. They do it through fake names, but they're.
I got a council member that does the same thing. Everything he sits there and he posts. So guess what I did 2 days ago? I want all your social media from the day you got elected to tomorrow. Good luck, brother. Yeah, I'll wait for those.
Yeah, and it sounds petty, but it's not, because that's what these platforms and public records requests. And I'll be honest with you. I used to think guys who did public records requests were morons.
Yeah,
I used to think the auditors were morons, and I'm respecting those guys more and more, because nobody's holding. Here's the thing: good cops are going to go out and do good things. The guys that don't give a shit about screwing over other cops and just go do the job, they're in a league of their own. They're going to work. They're doing their thing. They're making cases. They're going to suppression hearings. They're pushing the envelope, and they're doing great work. Then you have that pool of just shit bags that just kind of exist. And those people are mostly admin. And those are the ones that they need to go after, the auditors and the public records requests, because they're the ones that are doing all this shady shit.
Yeah.
And that's why I like these auditors, because if an auditor runs into a normal good cop, the cop knows what he's doing. He knows the Constitution. He knows how to handle the call. And that's why you don't see a lot of those interactions, because the auditor deletes them. He's like, well, that didn't go the way I wanted. On to the next one. But then you see these morons that just get sucked in. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea about case law. They have no idea about the Constitution. And then they're on fucking YouTube getting worked, and they're getting sued for civil rights violations. And it's like, I don't mind it. You know what? I don't mind it. Know your job, do your job, and you won't end up there.
But you know what? People that leave me have left me alone. That no problems, man. If you want to come out and you attack me, you better know what you're dealing with, because, like I said, I'm not going away. And so if you want to sit on social media like a little bitch and sit there and attack me, I go to the podium and I do it right there in their faces. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But you better be right. You better be right.
Yep. And I'm not looking. I even now after being gone, coming up on a year, being screwed for about 2.5 years, the last 2.5 years of my career. I still don't want to just ruin their lives. There's so much I know, and I know you do too. There's so much I know about these guys that screwed me. I know I'm not even gonna say, I know all the chicks they talked. I know all of it. Yeah. I know all the dirt. I know everything. I don't want to just ruin people's lives, but don't be a piece of shit. And these guys know what happened to me. They know what they did to me, and they know what they did to you. And I still think I may come on here and say this, that. I may drop a story about a guy here and there that did this or that, but man, I could just air it. I could air it out on all these dudes, and that's not what it's about. There's accountability, and then there's being just as big as a piece of shit as them. And I feel like that's why I try to throttle back a lot of the commenting, because when I get to commenting on like texting, I get a little bit more emotional, and I say dumb shit, and I'm like, I shouldn't have typed that. That's why I like talking, and that's why come on here and let's talk. because I feel like I say it a little better when I'm speaking it, because I still throttle it back in my head a little bit. But I don't want to ruin anybody's life, even the people that ruined my life. I really don't care to ruin their lives because they have families, and their family didn't do anything wrong because their husband's a piece of shit or they're whatever. But they still need to be held accountable. And that's kind of the lane I'm trying to stay in. I'm not trying to be some crybaby piece of shit that, oh, this guy did this, he did that. But the facts about why, like law enforcement reasons, the real stuff that happened in the agency, I think that's important to come out, because the public needs to know. They don't need to know what affair the guy's having or what piece of shit he was doing when he was off duty. You know, you can ruin their life, but I don't care. But what were they doing on duty? What is the bullshit they pulled in the uniform? That's what I think is important.
Yeah, and that's all I've ever asked for. Do an investigation for the allegations I've made and hold somebody accountable. Because if your chief of police and your deputy chief and your command staff aren't held accountable and they can do whatever they want, your officers are out there doing that exact same thing. They're mimicking their leaders. And I just dealt with a recent case that I'm working with now, that a lady reached out to me. And that's what's funny now is citizens will reach out to me and ask me to review their arrests, or to review their cameras, their videos and stuff, and ask for my opinions. And I just recently saw one that's out of control. Policy violations, probably illegal entry into houses and stuff like that. But when your chief and your command staff go to a training thing and just sit there and scream at a Melbourne sergeant, cursing him out with F-bombs, you say, I'm the chief of police, I can talk to you however you want. These officers get that same mentality. And what ends up happening is these officers get jammed up and they can't come back from it. And that's because of bad leadership. And it's just unfortunate. All I've ever asked, accountability. Just be held accountable, just like anybody else would be.
Yeah, and that's important. And it gets me so upset.
What was the third person? Was that somebody?
Steve talks in the third. Yeah, Steve here.
Oh.
He talks in the third person, and the whole I made a sticker. Self-proclaimed heroes is what he calls us. Part of your problem will only happen when honest people that want to do the right thing help provide that change. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what I'm trying to bring. But I don't know if Charlie, if you're in law enforcement, like nobody understands how hard it is to change that monster. It's almost impossible. It really is. And, unless it would take a whole cycle of like somebody making their way all the way to the top and have to pretty much be a lying chameleon and not act like they care about the administration to get there and then change to the good guy, because they groom the right people to take over the position so that their way never changes. And that's what happens. That's what happens in any police department or sheriff's office is they don't sit around. They're not going to surround themselves with somebody who challenges them and says, hey, this is fucked up or that's fucked up. They're going to surround themselves with the guy who goes, yeah, sir, that's a great idea.
100%.
We should blow that money. We should promote that guy from sergeant to captain. We should go buy all brand new cars when we don't need them. Like that, they're going to put themselves around those guys. Yeah,
what changes it is, like I said, a drastic event. Look at Kissimmee, right? I think they got hit with a grand jury indictment that said all kinds of stuff, misconduct, covering up excessive force uses. So they lost some top administration. They brought an outside chief that made change. I watched one of his videos here recently, and he talked about I held those people accountable, and that's what it takes. Because as you know, Mike, culture in law enforcement is from one chief to the next. When you stay inside, one chief to the next, and it doesn't change from an inside chief.
Nope.
And even sometimes from an outside chief. That we have an agency that we neighbor in Melbourne, and Chief Gillespie is a great guy, and it's taken years. And he brought in outside command staff, and it's still taken years to change that culture because it's so embedded.
This is a great statement. 2 things cops hate: things that change and things that stay the same.
That's true.
That's pretty. Self-proclaimed heroes will continue to pretend life they don't understand until the dragon rises up. I love Steve. I understand Mike, but I'm telling Steve if he had changed. Oh, Steve's not going to speak up. Steve's just going to. I've offered him to come on. He doesn't associate with self-proclaimed heroes, and he doesn't have the time for us. He just likes to comment. So I enjoy it, though. I like some of the stuff he says. Is like I think those points are good to raise because there are people that aren't. Steve's a little extreme, but he's not wrong in some of the stuff he says about cops protecting each other and being, pieces of garbage. There is, it's out there. Make the change you want. I grew up in a military cop household. It's just so tough because you come in as a new officer, you know it, and you go, oh man, I'm going to make a difference around here and I'm going to do that. And then you see what's going on and you're just like, I can't afford to get fired. I can't afford to get fired. I gotta shut my mouth. And it's a real ugly profession.
Next thing you know, you're crossing arms eating donut with your FPO, right?
or you're in the gym with your buddy and you're riding on his shoulders or something, and
Yeah.
or you're waving your lightsaber.
Yep.
Is that what they call it? I don't even.
And that's when you realize what the hell was I doing?
Let's see. I think I got one more TikTok video. Something in here. What do I got? Yeah, this chick. Let's see what she's doing.
Have to start selling crack.
But daddy is a state of mind, you know what I'm saying? I'm your daddy.
What do you think of that? Like, what the fuck is the point of that?
Well, so it's already tough enough for females in law enforcement. So why would you go and do a video like that and cause more problems? And she's right. It's a male-dominated workforce, and it's a struggle for females. The leadership, there's a lot of times there's not leadership to look up to. You know, there's obviously a different set of problems that females have in law enforcement than we do. When they go on the scene, they're viewed differently. If they're aggressive, they're called bitches, where we're called, you know, a great cop, right? So I think that's the problem there. When you have that kind of nonsense, you're only creating more problems.
But the good one about this one, she's got a SWAT pin on. I'm gonna play one more. That's all everybody has pointed out is the SWAT pin.
Daddy is a state of mind, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, there it is.
That's the edited version. Oh, I think I got one more, unless I screwed up and put the same video twice because I screwed up. But she's got a SWAT pin on, so apparently that's a SWAT officer. But you're right, and that is my argument with that is women see that and think that's what being a cop is about, and they are at a huge disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we can get into it all day. It's a whole nother topic, and we're near the end here, but they're physically not as capable as men. No, there are plenty of women that are more capable than a lot of the dudes I've worked with. And I'm not saying it's always like that, but when you're making those videos, I think those women are doing the biggest disservice to other females, because now some girl who's like 4'11", 102 pounds thinks that's all the job is about. Just like the black chick driving around. It's like, this is all I got to do. And I get benefits and I get a retirement. Oh, nobody's going to smash me in the face with a fucking butt of a gun and try to kill me. Nobody's going to try to rip my gun out of my hand or out of my holster and beat me with it. Like, that'll never happen. I'm going to make videos all day and put makeup on. And that is the wrong message that they set. And I think, I'll say it loud as it can be, the 30 by 30 initiative is a disaster. To just push a number instead of pushing it because of qualified candidates is a disaster for men, women, aliens, transvestites, whatever you want to categorize. It's a mistake to push something just because of a number.
Nope, agree. You know, what you have to do is you got to make the environment better, make leadership better. If you do mentoring, but yeah, you can't do anything just based on numbers alone. It's just not realistic. It just isn't. Yep,
I agree. And people get upset. Sometimes they think I make memes about female cop, whatever, dude. I live with one. And it's like, I always say this. If you're not the person I'm making fun of, it wouldn't offend you. So if that meme is bothering you, or if that meme hits home, like you think I'm talking about you, then maybe it is.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then like it said, if I make a meme making fun of a female cop and you're like, that ain't me. I train, I go to the gym, I fight, I do jiu-jitsu, I'm squared away. I have a real holster, and I don't put makeup on all day in the car. And it's not you I'm talking about, right? Like, it's not. So don't get so offended if you see that, but train, do the right thing.
Absolutely.
It's a wild world. So how does anybody get in touch with you if they want to talk to you?
Well, I guess my email. I guess that I could always open that up.
Type the email in there real quick, and obviously you don't want you to put your phone number. Put your email in there in case anybody wants to reach out to you, has any questions, wants you as an expert witness, anything like that. You need to be on social media, Lance. We got to get you on Instagram and all that, and get you a YouTube channel. I think it's important for somebody like you. Your wife says the number one answer.
She probably.
How do you get?
Oh, there was one. That's funny. I was like, that's great. She probably put my cell phone up there for fun.
I always give my number. I don't give a shit.
I do too.
Did you put it up there?
Yeah, lance.fisher2394@gmail.com.
Okay.
I think I got it right.
But didn't pop up yet.
That's the one I use. It's pretty simple. It's my name. It's easy.
Lance
for Marine,
because I don't see it. Lance dot Fisher. What is it?
Lance.Fisher
Uh-huh.
2394
Uh-huh.
at gmail.com. I probably put it in the wrong chat. This is why I can't do podcasts.
There it is. All right. So if anybody needs to get in touch with Lance, that's how you get it. Lance is a great dude. I always enjoy talking to you. I think you have an amazing story. I think you have a way of articulating things. I continue to support your fight against the corrupt Palm Bay Police Department. And thank you guys for tuning in. Lance, any last things for these guys?
Nope. I appreciate you really jumped it off. Started this off for me. It's kind of weird. I never imagined it would go like this. I thought honestly that somebody would hold somebody accountable and I move on with my life. But that's not the case. It's even worse. It goes all the way up from the city council down. From Mayor Rob Medina. If they're not going to hold the chief accountable, who's the chief going to hold accountable? So I do appreciate it. Again, I support, and I'll say it again. I support law enforcement. I did the job in 2 different agencies. It's funny when you say anything, criticize it. You're defunding the police. You hate law enforcement. That's not it at all, man. I've given everything I have to law enforcement. My family has as well.
Yeah, and remember this: there are good agencies out there. We talk about a few here and there. I would say, based on Martin County Sheriff's Office runs a really well sheriff's office in Florida here. There's some good agencies in South Florida. I'm not here to. Oh, he didn't mention mine. Sandy Springs Police Department in Georgia is, to me, the agency. That's where Jordan Ennis works. Their chief is Ken DeSoma. Great dude. There's a picture of him on their social media that I posted. He's standing on top of a car that he pursued that crashed into the woods. There are agencies out there. And in today's world, in 2025, we move. Nobody's tied anymore. We don't stay like I was born in Alabama and I'm not leaving. Like we move. Don't lock yourself into a certain agency or a certain place and be miserable your entire life. There are good agencies and good leaders out there. Find them. Ask guys like me. Ask guys like Lance. Do your research before you tie yourself into a home purchase or anything like that. Before you settle down in an agency, find the right place and make sure it's good for you and your family. It's tough, but we're not here to just bash the police profession either. There are good agencies. There are good people in police work. So do your research, talk to people, and you need any help from myself or Lance or anybody in the Counterculture Network, you know how to get a hold of us. So appreciate it, Lance. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good night.